Welcome to Category Management Knowledge Group's course preview on space management. Don't leave your understanding of space management only to your space management specialists. Understanding the shelf is critical for sales, category management, and marketing professionals. New product launches, product dimension changes, listings and delistings, promotion, and retailer strategies can all have an impact at the shelf. Here are the learning objectives for the full course. There are several hands-on workshops included that help students to practice their new learnings and learn to apply their new skills. We'll only cover a few of the objectives in this course preview. Let's get started. Product placement is the point where in-store merchandising begins, with the product arrangement on the shelf. It does not include display areas in the store. Because 80% of a store's dollar sales are from the shelf, because the shelf ties up inventory dollars, and because poor inventory management results in out of stocks, effective shelving or placement strategies are critical. Planograms are a key requirement in effective space management. What you may not realize is that the definition of a planogram can vary based on how they're used within organizations. The complexity of a planogram may vary by the size of the store, the data available, and the need of the retailer. Planograms can be as simple as a photo of a preset section, or more detailed with numbered peg holes and shelf notches, showing exact placement of each item. In basic terms, they are a graphic image or diagram that includes fixture types and products that are specific to a category. Planograms can turn from a graphic image into an analytics engine that includes sales or movement data, which enables the user to calculate empowering information associated with movement on the shelf. This includes things like days of supply, turns, profit per square or linear foot, and so on. Planograms can also become marketing tools through the usage of graphics and signage in the planogram. So, a planogram can be everything from a pretty picture to a highly powerful analysis tool. It's the inputs that go into a planogram that determine the outputs available. We'll review the inputs and outputs in a few minutes. There are many inputs that are required in order to develop effective planograms that will work for a specific retailer. First of all, the retailer's shelf strategies need to be understood. Different retailer strategies can directly affect the shelf layout and overall targets and objectives for a planogram. Next, the retailer's fixture dimensions, including section sizes, gondola measurements, and shelf measurements need to be input. Lastly, product information needs to be included as well. Much detail is required at a product level to maximize the use of the planogram software. The addition of data at an item level turns a planogram from a pretty picture into an analytical tool. Let's review each of these inputs in more detail, starting with retailer strategy. Retailers' overall strategies directly affect shelving, and these strategies need to be understood before the completion of any shelving work. The retailer strategy is an umbrella. It drives all the different components of the category management process and the overall category plan. Retailer strategy creates the retailer's uniqueness and provides overall rules or principles that give consistency to their stores. Some retailer strategies behind product placement may include ensuring that stores have standard fixture sizes so that stores can be clustered when developing planograms, making it easy for consumers to find what they're looking for on store shelves, being the first to shelf on new items, minimizing out of stocks, minimizing excess inventory, maximizing profit through strategic product placement, and maximizing private label placement on the shelf. Let's look at each of these in more detail. We review many retailer strategy examples for the shelf. Here's an example of if a retailer wants to planogram to satisfy the shopper. Maximizing shopper friendliness relates to the consumer decision tree. A full consumer decision tree maps out each decision that a shopper makes when selecting a product. For example, if we take the pet food category, we see that there are 4 main decisions that a shopper must make. It's important to note that not all decisions are made consciously by the shopper, and that all the decisions may take place in a split second. It's therefore important that the shelf is set up to avoid shopper confusion and aid the decision-making process. It is important to note, however, that an attribute such as brand loyalty can significantly impact the consumer decision tree. A shopper looking for pet food will first choose whether they're looking for dog or cat food. Assuming they're shopping for dog food, the next decision will be whether they're looking for regular feed or treats. If choosing regular feed, the next decision is on format, or wet versus dry feed. Having chosen wet feed, the brands available to decide from are Pedigree, Iams, and Private Label. This consumer decision tree should directly associate back to the shelf. In the full course, we walk through how you would shelf the pet food category based on this example decision tree. Gondolas and shelves and their physical dimensions significantly impact planogramming or shelving. As we've already mentioned, these store fixtures can vary significantly by retailer, format, or even banner. Let's review the gondola and shelf. A gondola is the physical unit that shelves or pegs attach to, as depicted in yellow in this diagram. Gondola height extends from the floor to the top of the gondola. Gondola heights vary across stores, departments, and categories. Usually, retailers have standard heights across their stores, which make it much easier to merchandise stores in clusters. One more thing to note is the kick plate, sometimes referred to as the base deck, which is at the bottom of the gondola. Once again, this height will vary across retailers and is included in the overall gondola height measurement. We go through more detail about shelving fixtures and some of the important components in the full course. We spend the rest of the course reviewing the different levels that are created within a planogram, including the section layout, the shelf layout, and the product layout. This includes a detailed look at all of the inputs required to complete strategic space management projects. Successful space management execution requires consideration of all of these inputs. The better the input into the planogram, the better the output. Without proper segmentation of the item level data, and without movement data at an item level, a planogram is just a pretty picture of the shelf. But with these specific inputs, it turns a pretty picture into a powerful analytic tool. Once we identify the inputs for the planogram in detail, we can start to understand the outputs that are available through most planogram software. There are literally hundreds of automatic calculations available within the more sophisticated shelving software programs. We're only showing a few of them here. These analytics are accurate only if the inputs into the planogram are correct, including the fixture dimensions, product dimensions, and product data. If there's missing or incorrect information in the initial setup, much or all of the analytics within the planogram will be incorrect or missing. In the full course, we walk through each of these measures in detail and explain how they relate back to the shelf and retailer strategies. It's important to understand all of these measures, even if you don't do planogramming. We covered a lot of information on space management in this course. Hopefully you've learned that it's not just a technical planogram development tactic, but one that requires a lot of thought and strategy. Anyone who makes decisions or recommendations that affect the shelf need to understand space management. In the full course, first we review retailer strategy and the importance of defining, sharing, and understanding the overall strategies, guidelines, and principles behind space. These differ by retailer. Next, we share all of the different inputs across gondolas, fixtures, and products. The better your input, the better your output. Try to stop making so many planograms that have no data in them, and strive for new shelving insights through shopper-based segmentation in your item-level databases. And finally, there's an opportunity to improve productivity in your planograms, thereby driving overall category results. We walk through details of understanding planogram reports and making improvements to planograms. Collaboration is another big area of opportunity, driven by the large number of resources to set strategy, develop planograms, and implement in the stores. Space management is everyone's responsibility. How can you become more strategic in how you influence the shelf? Our fully accredited course can get you on the right path. You've now completed this course preview on space management. So where do you go from here? If you're interested in purchasing this popular certified course, or working with us to help you determine training opportunities for you, your team, or your organization that will ultimately lead to a new level of strategic approach in your space management projects, please contact us. We don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach, and will consult with you to ensure that what we deliver meets your specific needs and business issues. We hope to hear from you soon. Have an excellent day.